The best thing about being a space solutions lead is being able to solve people's problems and really being exposed to a variety of different problems from different people around the world. I think it's really exciting. My name is Amar Vora, and my job title is Space Solutions Lead. I work within the business development function of the company, looking at how we develop new services and prospects for the market, working with customers as well to understand what their needs are and just making sure that we position ourselves in a competitive way in the market. So it's slightly different to your traditional spacecraft manufacturers, your launch manufacturers, and your people who use the space data. We provide managed services for customers. So when a customer has a specific asset, for example, a ground station or spacecraft in orbit, we actually provide the people and expertise to be able to make the most of the asset that they have. In the UK, our main customer is the Ministry of Defence, and we work quite closely with them to make the most of the space assets that they have on the ground and in space, whether that's satellite communications or ground-based radar and other instruments. But across Europe, we also work with the likes of the European Space Agency to operate their spacecraft, to also be to manage some of the data that they get through their spacecraft. I was actually born in Leicester, so I'm Leicester born, but most of my childhood I grew up in the Middle East. So I grew up in Dubai, primarily because my family were out there for work. When you think of Dubai now, you think of sort of the rich and the famous that go out there, but when I was growing up, it was very much still a country that was developing and finding its feet. As a result, my youth was very much around a lot of different types of cultures, different people, meeting different people from all parts of the world. I went to an international school, a British curriculum, but international school, so I was surrounded by people from all over the world. Did all my education there. Maths was my strongest subject in school. But I like physics. I did like art as well and computing, and so I like to get involved in various different aspects. But I always knew that physics and maths were my two strengths, and engineering was really where I wanted to go down. Space was always a sort of an attraction with the space shuttle launches. Just what you're always inspired by sort of various events that happen, seeing images of from the Hubble Space Telescope, the Puzzle of Creation, and all these other sort of amazing images. I mean, definitely astonishing to see what the sector was capable of back then. Growing up, space didn't seem so accessible and didn't seem like I could get into the space sector. It seemed like a really cool thing that was happening. I felt that engineering would give me the experience, would give me the exposure into a sector that was maybe what I thought was not completely accessible. But when I went to university, I studied aerospace engineering. It's only when I was at university and started to study specific modules that are associated to space, like space flight, was where I then started to realize that actually this was extremely interesting, and there's a lot of work happening in the sector and a lot of potential for growth in the UK and other regions as well, which is where I started to dig deeper to understand what direction I could take within the space sector itself. And I started to get more involved in societies at university. So there's the Aerospace Society, then we went on a visit to, as part of the society, to Holland, which is the base with the technical headquarters of the European Space Agency. And again, just seeing the work that they do, it just really fascinated me more and more about the space sector. And then as I went through sort of my university career, I started to get more engaged and be more proactive and work with my tutors, my lecturers to do specific projects related to space specifically rather than the aviation side, which is where I went down a more narrower path around the space sector. And then after my aerospace engineering course, I did a master's focusing specifically on space engineering and astronautics at Cranfield University, which was then where, I was just following a path down the space sector. I started my career at a company called Surrey Satellite Technology. They're a space manufacturing company based in Guildford, down south. And at Cranfield University, they had very close links into industry. So in terms of my role at SSTL, when I first started there, it's quite a cool title actually. It's called Mission Concepts Engineer. As the name suggests, we worked on concepts. We worked on future ideas, new types of solutions that SSTL as a satellite manufacturer can offer. So it's quite a technical role looking at developing missions, developing satellite solutions for customers, whether that's communications, so using satellites to communicate, or Earth observation, so imaging from space for different applications such as agriculture or even navigation. So we're all aware of Google Maps, and that's enabled through GPS technology and GNSS, but there's other types of concepts that are out there to enable that global positioning from space. It was working with customers and developing solutions, and that also gave me a bit of a feel for what it was like to work with customers, being at the front line, building up sort of that business development type of work ethos, and just taking me down a career path that was more focused towards the customer focused and business development style route, which is where I am today. There's no 2 weeks that are the same, really. Some of it is computer based, so actually I am home based, so a lot of my time I do spend at home, on whether it's meeting people virtually or just doing some sort of finishing a lot of admin work, and it's spent at home. But then there's a lot of time which I'm work sort of meeting customers as well, just trying to work with customers to understand what problems they're facing and seeing what types of solutions we can offer. Sometimes when we're doing bid work, again, it's getting people together, whether that's physically or virtually in a room, and working with them through understanding what we can offer to address specific opportunities. I do like to bring in my technical background and expertise into this role. So it is trying to make sure that whatever we offer is technically feasible and also commercially viable for the company. But at the same time, it's also leaning on the experts that we already have in the company, whether that's in satellite communications, whether that's in space situational awareness or the radar, looking up in the skies perspective. It's bringing in those experts in to also inform some of the solutions that we offer. And then some of it's also attending events, whether that's trade shows, whether that's conferences, and whether that's seminars. It's just attending events and making sure that our company is out there. People know who we are. What I love about my job is sort of the variety of work that I do and the people that I work for. I think the people that you get exposed to people from all different types of backgrounds, expertise. I learn a lot from them. I learn a lot in my job, working from people across borders. So again, that's that sort of international footprint that we have really allows us to enables me to do that. I'm excited about the industry in general because it's becoming more mainstream. Again, 10, 20 years ago, space was seen as something that only the military or government would participate in. Now, space is becoming more and more open to the private sector. It's becoming more and more open to other sectors as well to understand how they can use space. And as such, space is growing exponentially in terms of how people can actually make the most of what we have up in space. And why I'm really excited about my role individually is that because I'm working quite closely with customers and understanding sort of their problems and developing solutions as a result of that, I am exposed to the direction in which the space industry is going. So why you should join the space industry? Space isn't really all about rocket science. When we tend to hear the fact that space is rocket science, it's not only rocket science. We need people from all types of backgrounds, all types of interests, all types of expertise in the space sector to do what we need to do. So whether you like art, whether you like law, whether you like English, whether philosophy, no matter what your background is, we need people like you really to help deliver what we're trying to do in the space sector. So don't be afraid to explore careers in space, really, whether it's technical or non-technical. We need people from all backgrounds, and hopefully you can be part of our journey as well going forward.